Welcome back to Outreach Your Limits with AI.
Great to be here.
This is where we tackle the complex stuff you send us: articles, notes, research, and pull out the key insights, making it all make sense.
Yep.
Breaking it down.
And today, we're focusing on something really crucial for getting the most out of AI. We're talking about prompt engineering.
Absolutely vital. It's how you really talk to these AI models effectively.
We'll be drawing heavily on the work of Lee Boonstra. She's got this great Google white paper simply called Prompt Engineering.
And a very practical blog post, too. Best practices for prompt engineering in the enterprise. Really solid stuff.
So our mission for you today, it's pretty straightforward. Get why prompt engineering is such a big deal for leveling up AI.
And walk away with some actual tips, some strategies you can use right away to get better results from AI.
Think of it as your fast track to better AI conversations. Okay, let's kick things off. What exactly is prompt engineering in simple terms? When we talk about making AI models perform better. Well, okay, so a prompt is basically your instruction. It's the input, usually text, right? Sometimes images too, but mostly text.
The question you ask it.
Yeah, or the command or the start of a story. It's what the AI uses to figure out what output to generate. Now, anyone can type something in.
Sure.
But crafting a prompt that really works well, that gets you the insightful output you need, that's actually pretty complex.
So it's more involved than just asking a question.
Definitely. Prompt engineering is, well, it's an iterative process. You're designing, refining, testing prompts to guide these large language models, LLMs, to give you accurate, relevant stuff.
Iterative, meaning you try and try again.
Exactly. And what makes a prompt effective depends on, well, a bunch of things.
Like what?
The specific AI model you're using, for one. Gemini, GPT, Claude, they all have quirks.
Right.
Then there's the data it was trained on, the model settings, temperature, things like that. And of course, your actual words.
The phrasing.
Yeah, the words you choose, the style, the tone, even the structure of your prompt, and the context you give it. It all feeds in.
So what happens if you just dash off a quick, sloppy prompt? If you don't put thought into it?
Well, you're likely to get ambiguous answers, inaccurate stuff, or maybe just something really generic that doesn't help much.
Hinders the AI.
Yeah, it really limits its ability to figure out what you actually want. It can't give you meaningful output if the input isn't clear.
But a good prompt can unlock a lot more.
Absolutely. Things like text summarization, pulling out specific information, Q&A, classifying text, translating language or code.
Even generating code.
Yep, code generation, documentation, reasoning through problems. A well-crafted prompt makes all that possible, or at least much, much better.
And you mentioned different models like Gemini or GPT or open source ones like Gemma or Llama. You might need different prompts for them.
You often do, yeah. Optimizing for the specific model is key. What works for one might need tweaking for another to get the best results.
Okay, so we get the what's. It's about crafting careful instructions. Now, why is it so important? What's the real difference between a bad prompt and a good one?
That's the core of it, isn't it? It's really an art and a science. The difference in output quality can be pretty dramatic.
How so? Can you show us?
Yeah, let's look at some techniques. The most basic is what's called general or zero-shot prompting.
Zero shot.
Meaning, you give it the task, maybe some text to work with, but no examples of what you want the output to look like.
Just hoping it gets it right.
Pretty much. The white paper has an example. Classifying a movie review. Classify review. Her is a disturbing study. I wish there were more movies like this masterpiece. Sentiment. And the model outputs positive.
Okay, that worked.
Yeah, for a simple task. But imagine asking it to summarize complex research findings you've provided. A zero-shot prompt might give you a very basic summary, maybe miss the nuances.
Right, so if zero shot isn't enough.
Then you move to one-shot or few-shot prompting. This is where you give the model examples.
Like showing your work.
Exactly. You show it what a good answer looks like. One shot is one example. Few shot is, well, a few examples, usually 3 to 5, to show a pattern.
So you're teaching it the format or style you want.
Precisely. It helps the model understand the structure, the tone, the level of detail. The white paper has a great pizza order example.
Pizza, yeah.
Yeah, the goal is to turn a natural language order into structured JSON. The prompt gives examples like, example, I want a small pizza with cheese, JSON response. And then another one.
Showing the pattern.
Right. Then it gives a new, more complex order. Now, I would like a large pizza, half cheese and mozzarella, half tomato sauce, ham, and pineapple. JSON response.
And because of the examples.
The model can correctly parse that tricky half-and-half order into the right JSON format. Without examples, it might just guess or output something messy.
That makes a huge difference if you need structured data.
Huge, especially for analysis or feeding into other systems. And the quality of your examples matters a lot. They need to be relevant, diverse, clear, maybe even include edge cases.
Got it. Examples are powerful. What else could we do beyond examples?
We can use things like system, contextual, and role prompting. These are different ways to set the stage, basically.
Setting the stage.
Yeah. System prompting defines the overall context or purpose, like telling the model its main job is language translation, or it should always output classifications in uppercase or as JSON.
Like setting the ground rules up front.
Exactly. The white paper shows using a system prompt to force the movie review classification output to be uppercase, like positive, or to output it as JSON. It's also really useful for setting safety boundaries.
Okay, that's system prompting. What about role prompting?
Role prompting is fun. You assign the AI a persona, act as a book editor, you are a physics teacher, respond like a sarcastic pirate.
Does that work?
It really does. It helps the model adopt the right tone, knowledge level, style. The white paper has examples like acting as a helpful Amsterdam travel guide.
Giving practical tips.
Right. And then another example makes it a humorous and inspirational travel guide for Manhattan. Adding that style layer makes the output way more engaging.
So you can shape its personality. What's contextual prompting?
Contextual prompting is about giving specific background info relevant right now for this specific task.
More specific than the system prompt.
Yeah, it narrows the focus for the current query. Say you fed it a bunch of marketing articles. You could then say, using the provided articles, suggest marketing strategies specifically for a small e-commerce store with a low budget. That context helps it filter.
Guiding its focus based on the immediate need.
Exactly. The white paper uses an example about suggesting blog topics. If you just ask for blog topics, it's broad. But if you provide the context for a blog about retro 80s arcade video games, the suggestions become much, much more relevant.
Makes sense. Context is king, even for AI.
It really is.
Yeah.
These techniques help fine-tune the AI's understanding, and there are even more advanced ones we could touch on briefly.
Oh, like what?
Well, there's step-back prompting, making the AI think about the bigger picture first. Chain of thought, or COT prompting.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's where you ask the model to explain its reasoning step by step. Really boosts accuracy for complex stuff. Then there's self-consistency, tree of thoughts, react, which combines reasoning with using external tools.
Wow, lots of advanced methods.
And even automatic prompt engineering, ATE, trying to automate finding good prompts, plus code prompting for code tasks, and multimodal prompting using images or other inputs. It's a whole field.
Clearly, a lot goes into this. Okay, let's talk about Lee Boonstra again. You mentioned her white paper and blog post are the sources here. Tell us a bit more about her and her impact.
Sure. Lee Boonstra is a software engineer at Google, and she's got a lot of hands-on experience applying prompt engineering, especially for large businesses, enterprise settings.
So she's seen what works in the real world.
Exactly. Her work, like that white paper and blog post, is really valuable because it demystifies prompt engineering. It makes these powerful techniques more accessible.
Taking it from theory to practice.
Precisely. She provides a clear understanding of how LLMs work with prompts, covers many of these techniques we've discussed, and, importantly, gives very practical, actionable advice and best practices.
Helping people actually write better prompts.
Yes. She really emphasizes understanding the model, being clear about your goals, and that iterative refinement process. Her work is a fantastic resource if you really want to level up your AI interactions.
Excellent. So, drawing from her expertise and these best practices, what are some concrete tips? Things listeners can try today to write more effective prompts. Let's get practical.
Okay, number one, building on what we said. Provide examples. Use one shot or few shot. It's like giving the AI a template. Remember the pizza JSON. That's the power of showing, not just telling.
Right. Show the desired output. What else?
Design with simplicity. Keep prompts clear, concise. Avoid jargon. Easy for you to read, easy for the AI to understand.
Simple is better.
Often, yes. Boonstra gives a travel advice example. Instead of a long, rambling request, something direct like act as a travel expert. Suggest 3 historical sites in Rome and briefly explain their significance. Clear, focused.
Use strong verbs too.
Yeah, she suggests that. Start with summarize, analyze, extract, compare. Tells the AI exactly what action to take. Instead of, tell me about this paper, use summarize the key findings of this paper.
Be direct. Got it. What's next?
Be specific about the output. Don't just say, write a blog post. Say, generate a 3-paragraph blog post about remote work benefits, professional tone. Or if you want data points, ask for a bulleted list or a table. Define the format.
Don't leave it guessing how you want the answer presented.
Exactly. Also, try to use instructions over constraints. Tell the AI what to do rather than just what not to do.
Positive framing.
Generally works better, yeah. Instead of don't include speculation, maybe try focus only on the factual information presented. Constraints have their place for safety or scope, but positive instructions are often clearer guides.
Interesting. Any other quick tips?
Control the max token length if response length matters. Set it in the config or say, explain quantum physics in under 280 characters.
Like a tweet.
Yeah. Use variables in prompts to make them reusable, like having a placeholder for company name or topic so you can reuse a prompt structure easily. Boonstra has a food order example where you swap out burger type or drink size.
Makes them flexible.
Very. And experiment with input formats and styles. Ask a question, make a statement, give an instruction. Different phrasing can sometimes yield surprisingly different results.
So try different ways of asking.
Absolutely. And if you're doing few-shot classification, mix up the order of your example classes. Don't always show positive examples, then negative examples, mix them to avoid bias.
Good point. Keep the AI on its toes.
Sort of. Also, adapt to model updates. These models change, so stay informed and be ready to tweak your prompts. Experiment with output formats too. JSON, XML can be great for structured data.
And work with others.
Yeah, experiment together. Share what works, what doesn't. Collaboration helps everyone improve.
What about for that chain of thought technique? Any specific tips there?
Yes, for COTI, it's often best to have the model put the final answer after it shows its reasoning. Clear separation. And if you need a precise logical answer, set the temperature setting to 0. Makes it less random, more deterministic.
Okay. And what's something people often forget but is really crucial?
Oh, definitely document your prompt attempts. Seriously. Keep notes.
Like a logbook.
Exactly. What prompt did you use? Which model? What settings? What was the output? Good, bad, why? Boonstra even suggests a spreadsheet template. It's vital for learning, testing, debugging.
Building your own prompt library.
Essentially, yes. And save your good prompts somewhere sensible, maybe even in your code repositories if applicable.
Makes sense. Any tools that can help with all this?
Yeah, use tooling. Things like Google's Model Garden let you test and save prompts. Colab notebooks are great for testing with APIs. And don't forget basics like spell checkers.
Good point. Typos can mess things up.
They really can. Also, if working with source documents, ask the AI to ground its answers to evidence. Cite the section number. That helps verify accuracy.
Make it show its sources.
Right. And finally, use human or automatic raters to evaluate the output quality. That feedback loop is how you refine prompts effectively.
This is incredibly helpful. It really paints a picture of prompt engineering as a key skill, not just a minor tweak.
It absolutely is. It's iterative, requires thought, but applying these practices, especially the ones Lee Boonstra highlights, lets you unlock so much more capability from these AI models. You get much deeper insights.
So the big takeaway for you listening is, don't underestimate the power of the prompt.
Right. Small changes, thoughtful phrasing, using these techniques, it can make a world of difference to the quality and usefulness of the AI's response.
So we really encourage you, next time you interact with an AI, try just one or two of these things, maybe add an example, or specify the output format, see what happens.
Experiment. And definitely check out Lee Boonstra's white paper and blog post for more detail. We'll link them in the show notes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on Outreach Your Limits with AI for this deep dive into prompt engineering.
Hope it was useful.
We certainly hope it helps you push the boundaries of what you can achieve with AI. Until next time.